Pop the hood on a 4x4 that's been rotting on a dealer's back row for 3 months, and half the time you'll find an engine tougher than anything rolling off the line today. I've spent 22 years under these trucks, and the ones buyers scroll right past are usually the ones I'd stake my own driveway on. 5 of them specifically, rigs the market gave up on that'll clear 300,000 miles on fluid changes and a little patience. Number 1 is the one I'd go buy tomorrow. Let's count them down. Number 5, Ford Ranger. Everybody wants a Tacoma. Nobody wants the truck that does 90% of the same job for a third of the money. That's the compact Ford Ranger, the 1998 through 2011 body-on-frame version, and it might be the most quietly unkillable little 4x4 in America. Here's the thing most people don't understand about the Ranger. There isn't one engine to talk about, there are 2 you actually want, and they're both cockroaches. The 3.0-liter Vulcan V6 is the one everybody makes fun of. It makes about 150 horsepower, and it is slow, no argument. But there's an old line among Ford mechanics that if you can kill a Vulcan that still has oil and coolant in it, you shouldn't be allowed to operate anything more complicated than a refrigerator. I've seen these things go past 300,000 miles on nothing but oil changes and a set of plugs. Cast iron block, dead simple design, no drama. Then there's the 4.0-liter. The older OHV version through 2000 is bulletproof. The SOHC that came after makes a much healthier 207 horsepower, and the only real warning is the timing chain guides on the early ones, roughly 2001 to 2003. On a neglected example, those guides can rattle and, worst case, chew into the head. Ford revised the parts, and post-2004 trucks are solid. So the play is simple. Buy a 3.0, an older 4.0 OHV, or a post-2004 4.0 SOHC, and you've sidestepped the only landmine. Had a guy come into my shop a couple of years back, a contractor who wanted my opinion on a 2007 Ranger 4x4, 4.0, 168,000 miles, with the seller asking $6,800. I put it on the lift. The frame was clean, with no rot, the transfer case shifted into low without a fight, and the timing was dead quiet on a cold start, which is exactly what you want to hear. I told him to buy it and change the transmission fluid the same week, because the 5R55E automatic is the 1-week link, and it lives or dies on clean fluid. He still runs that truck, 0 engine work. When you're shopping for one, do 4 things. First, cold start it and listen for a rattle from the front of the 4.0 SOHC. A healthy one is quiet. Second, drive it and feel the automatic shift, because a slipping 5R55E is your only real money pit here, and a manual is even better if you can find one. Third, get underneath and look hard at the frame and rear crossmember, especially anything from a salt state. Fourth, run it through 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low, and make sure it engages clean. Who should buy it? Anybody who wants a genuine small truck that fits in a normal garage and costs $3 to $9 grand. Who should skip it? If you tow heavy or you care about fuel economy, the 4.0 drinks, and this isn't your rig. But as a cheap, honest 4x4 that refuses to die, the Ranger is a steal nobody's paying attention to. Number 4, Chevrolet Tahoe, Suburban, and Silverado, the GMT 800 with the 5.3. This one hides in plain sight. There are millions of them, they're cheap as dirt, and under the hood of the Goodyears sits one of the most reliable V8 engines General Motors ever built, the 5.3-liter Vortec, engine code LM7, in the 1999 through roughly 2006 GMT 800 trucks and SUVs. Let me tell you why this specific engine matters, because not all 5.3s are equal. The LM7 is an iron block member of GM's LS family. Port fuel injection, 6-bolt mains, a deep skirt block, and most importantly, no active fuel management. AFM is the cylinder deactivation system GM added on the later GMT 900 trucks starting in 2007, and it's the source of the lifter failures and oil consumption horror stories people associate with the 5.3. The early GMT 800 LM7 doesn't have it. That's the whole trick. Buy the iron block pre-AFM 5.3 and you've got an engine that routinely runs 250,000 to 300,000 miles with a real chance at 400,000, and it shares parts with half the LS engines on Earth, so nothing about fixing it is expensive or exotic. I had a customer bring me a 2004 Suburban with 191,000 miles that he'd inherited and assumed was junk. Ran it, scanned it, pulled the plugs. The engine was flawless. The only thing it needed was a set of brake lines, because the actual weakness of the GMT 800 is rusty brake and fuel lines in salt country, not the drivetrain. I told him that Suburban would outlast his mortgage. He's towing a camper with it now. Inspection checklist. First, on the 1999 to 2001 trucks, ask whether the plastic lower intake manifold gaskets have been done. They weep coolant, it's a known thing, and it's a cheap fix once it's addressed. Second, crawl underneath and inspect the brake lines and frame if it's from anywhere they salt roads, because that's where these trucks actually rot. Third, get the transmission fluid checked. The 4L60E is fine, but hates heat, so a truck that towed hard on old fluid is one to negotiate on or add a cooler to. Fourth, confirm the transfer case shifts into four-wheel drive cleanly. Who's this for? Anybody who needs to haul a family, tow a boat, or move a house and wants to spend 7 to 13 grand doing it. Who should skip it? If you're counting every gallon, a big V8 body-on-frame rig is never going to sip fuel. But for bulletproof American muscle at scrap metal prices, the early 5.3 is hard to beat. Number 3. Nissan Xterra. Now we're getting into the genuinely ignored. The second generation Nissan Xterra, 2005 to 2015, is one of the last true body-on-frame off-road SUVs anybody built, and it's cheap for exactly one dumb reason. It says Nissan on it instead of Toyota. Mechanically, this thing is far tougher than its reputation. It rides on Nissan's F-Alpha truck platform, the same architecture underneath the Frontier, the Pathfinder, and the Titan, so it's a real truck, not a soft crossover. Every second-generation Xterra runs the 4.0-liter VQ40 DE-VAV6, making 261 to 265 horsepower and around 281 pound-feet of torque. And that engine is a genuine workhorse that owners regularly push past 250,000 miles, with the record holders sitting north of 350,000. It's got a timing chain, not a belt, and parts interchange with a huge pool of other Nissan trucks. But I'm going to be dead honest with you, because this is where the smart buyer makes or loses money. The 2005 through 2010 automatic Xterras have a problem. The community lovingly calls the strawberry milkshake of death. The factory radiator has an internal transmission cooler built into it, and when that internal wall cracks, engine coolant and transmission fluid mix into a pink sludge that destroys the automatic from the inside. It is exactly as ugly as it sounds. Here's the good news: it's completely preventable. Owners in the know replace that radiator or bypass the internal cooler before it ever fails. And once that's done, the truck is bulletproof. So you either buy a 2011 to 2015, which came with the fixed setup, or you buy a well-maintained 2008 to 2010 where the previous owner already handled the radiator. Handle that one issue and you've got a rig people take on Arctic overlanding trips. Buying tips. First, and I mean first, pop the radiator cap and check the coolant and pull the transmission dipstick. If you see anything pink or milky, walk away. That trans is cooked. Second, cold start it and listen for a ticking or rattling from the timing chain guides, a known wear item, though a repair, not a catastrophe. Third, look at the frame for rust, because these do corrode in salt. Fourth, run all 3 drive modes and check the ignition coils, since when one goes, you replace them as a set. Who should buy it? Someone who wants real off-road capability and body-on-frame toughness for 5 to 15 grand and doesn't care about badge snobbery. Who should skip it? Highway commuters chasing fuel economy? It gets around 16 in town, and it's not comfortable in the luxury sense. But as an honest trail rig, the market forgot, the Xterra is a bargain hiding behind the wrong logo. Number 2, Jeep Cherokee XJ. This is the one that's already becoming a legend, and the price is finally starting to reflect it. So if you want one, the window is closing. The Jeep Cherokee XJ, built from 1984 all the way to 2001, is powered by what may be the single most respected engine in this entire video, the 4.0-liter AMC inline 6. Let me explain why grown mechanics get sentimental about this motor. It's a cast iron block with a cast iron head, a long-stroke straight 6 that makes about 190 horsepower and 225 pound-feet in the high output version, and it's driven by a timing chain, so there's no belt to snap. It was engineered simple on purpose, and simple lasts. Ask any Jeep owner and you'll hear the same stories. Engines crossing 300,000 miles on basic maintenance, and plenty of documented examples past 400,000, including old rural mail route Cherokees that just refuse to quit. On top of that, the XJ is unibody, but rides on solid front and rear axles, which is why the off-road crowd loves it, and the aftermarket support is bottomless. It is a genuine do-it-yourself dream. There is almost nothing on this truck a patient person can't fix in a driveway. A word of caution that'll save you real money. Skip the earliest trucks from 1987 to 1990 with the Renix fuel injection system. They're more finicky. The engine got its block strengthened for 1995, and the sweet spot is the 1996 to 2001 run. The 4.0 engine's real enemy isn't wear, it's heat and rust. Keep the cooling system healthy, and that engine goes forever, so a truck with a fresh radiator and water pump is worth paying up for. And because it's a unibody, rust here is structural, not cosmetic, so it matters more than on a body-on-frame truck. Inspection checklist, and on this one, it's mostly about rot. First, get underneath and inspect the floor pans, the frame rails, the rear quarters, and the area around the rear hatch, because a rusty XJ is a compromised XJ. Second, check the cooling system thoroughly and look for a cracked exhaust manifold, which is common and tells you it's run hot. Third, confirm the 6-cylinder engine pulls smoothly with no knock, and know that some late-run heads had a casting prone to cracking, so ask about history. Fourth, cycle the 4-wheel drive and listen for clean engagement. Who should buy it? Anybody who wants a compact, endlessly fixable off-roader with a genuinely legendary engine and can still find a clean one for 3 to 9 grand before they all get snapped up. Who should skip it? If you need modern comfort, quiet, or crash safety. This is a 25-year-old truck, and it drives like one. But as a mechanical investment, the XJ is the closest thing to a sure bet on this list. If this kind of straight talk is useful to you, take a second and subscribe because I keep making these, and the next one goes even deeper. Now, number 1. This is the SUV. I recommend more than any other to people who tell me they want something that'll last forever, and almost everyone raises an eyebrow when I say it, right up until they drive one. Number 1. Lexus GX470. Here's the pitch, and I want you to really sit with it. There is a Lexus on the used market with a Toyota Land Cruiser's guts, a bank vault V8, and full luxury inside, and it sells for the price of a used domestic minivan because buyers think of it as some soft old grandpa SUV. That's the 2003 to 2009 Lexus GX470, and it is the most underrated, reliable 4x4 in America. Let me tell you about the customer who nearly argued with me over this truck. Woman in her 40s wanted something that would go 250,000 miles and haul her family, was looking at newer crossovers around $20,000. I asked if she'd considered a GX470. She wrinkled her nose, said it looked dated and thirsty. So I walked her out back and showed her one on my lift and told her what she was actually looking at. Under that hood is the 2UZFE, a 4.7-liter iron block V8 that Toyota also put in the Land Cruiser, the LX470, the Tundra, and the Sequoia. It makes 235 horsepower on the early ones and 270 after 2005, with 320 pound-feet of torque, and it is one of the most overbuilt engines Toyota ever shipped. Owners routinely take these past 300,000 miles, and 400,000 is not a fantasy. The GX rides on the Land Cruiser Prado platform, runs a full-time four-wheel drive system with a lockable center differential, and has nearly 9 inches of ground clearance and a 6,500-pound tow rating. It's not a soft mall SUV pretending to be tough. It's a Land Cruiser wearing a tuxedo. She bought a 2006 with 148,000 miles for around $13,000. She texted me a year later. It hadn't needed a thing but fluids and a battery. Her words were, "Why does nobody talk about these?" Now, the one thing you must know, because it's the difference between a great buy and a headache. Unlike most of the other engines on this list, the 2UZFE uses a timing belt, not a chain, and it needs to be replaced roughly every 90,000 miles. That's not a flaw, it's just maintenance, but you have to respect it. So when you shop one, the single most important question is, show me proof. The timing belt was done. If there's no record, budget somewhere around $900 to $1,200 to do the belt and the water pump together and factor that into your offer. Do that, and this is one of the most reliable vehicles money can buy. The rest of the checklist. First, on the 2006 and 2007 trucks, scan for secondary air injection codes. That pump can fail, and it's the GX's one semi-common gremlin. Second, check the rear height control suspension for leaks and make sure it rises and settles properly. Third, get underneath and look at the frame and undercarriage because Toyotas of this era can rust where you can't see it, and a rusty frame is a hard no. Fourth, confirm the four-wheel drive system and center differential lock work, and check the dash and paint since some develop peeling. Who should buy it? Honestly, almost everyone who wants Land Cruiser durability without the Land Cruiser price. And there are clean ones from $6,000 to $25,000 with high mileage runners under 10. Who should skip it? If fuel economy rules your life, it gets 14 to 18. And if you park in tight city spots, that side-swinging rear tailgate is annoying. But if I had to buy one 4x4 today to drive for the next 15 years with the lowest possible chance of ever stranding me, I'd buy a GX470 and I wouldn't think twice. So there they are, 5 4x4s the market wrote off that mechanics quietly trust with their own families. The Ford Ranger, that won't die on the world's simplest V6s. the early GMT 800 Chevys with the iron block 5.3-liter that shrugs off neglect, the Nissan Xterra that's tougher than its badge and cheaper than it should be, the Jeep Cherokee XJ with the immortal 4.0 straight six before clean ones disappear, and the Lexus GX470, a Land Cruiser in disguise, priced like nobody knows what it is because they don't. Next time a salesman steers you toward a 3-year-old lease return with a Turbo 4 that'll be grenading right about the time the warranty ends, you'll know better. If this helped, hit that like button and subscribe, because I'll keep telling you the stuff the dealers won't. Take care of one of these trucks, and it'll take care of you for 400,000 miles. Take it or leave it. I'll see you in the next one.